If you're struggling to pay HMRC, VAT, corporation tax, PAYE, you've still got an unpaid bounce back loan or a C-bills or a recovery loan scheme, you owe suppliers money, you've got creditor pressure every single day, you're probably going to be asking what will happen to all these business debts if I liquidate my business. So in this video, I'm going to explain absolutely everything that you need to know about what debts get written off, what debts follow you around, and exactly what you can do about both of them. Now, my name's Chris Worden, Director First. We offer free and independent advice to struggling business owners in the UK. The first thing that I want to explain to you today is the difference between a secured business debt and an unsecured business debt, okay? Now, a secured business debt means you have put up some type of asset as collateral for the loan, okay? A good example is a mortgage on a property. You know, if you fall behind on a mortgage, eventually the bank will repossess, they'll take the mortgage, they'll take back the property, they'll sell the property, and they will get paid first. If there's any shortfall, they'll come to you. It's the same with finance. You might have raised finance in your business on a machine, and that finance company has put a charge against the company. What that means is in the event of a default, that charge holder gets paid first. It's a secured debt against that asset, okay? Now, an unsecured debt are things like VAT, corporation tax, pay as you earn, energy bills, business rates, lots of supplier debts, a bounce back loan, a perfect example. It was not secured. You didn't have to personally guarantee it. The bank have got a guarantee from the government that if you don't pay it, the government steps in and repays it. Most C-bills are unsecured, certainly less than 250,000. If your C-bills is over 250,000, you may have had to sign a personal guarantee for some of that money above 250,000 or all of it. Recovery loans, the recovery loan scheme is a little bit, I'm not 100% sure. You see some that don't have a personal guarantee, some have a personal guarantee, some your personal guarantee 30% of it. Well, if you've got a recovery loan, it's important you read the loan document, because if you've personally guaranteed it, there is, obviously that's an issue if you liquidate. So, what happens with an unsecured debt is if you go into liquidation, it essentially gets written off, okay? You know, if you're a small business that might owe, I don't know, 50, 100,000 pounds to the HMRC, listen, I know it's a lot of money, but yeah, it goes in a liquidation, it gets written off. Same as supplier debts, same as energy debts, business rates, that type of thing. Where HMRC are a little different, they're what we call a preference creditor, okay? And that means that if there are any realisations from your insolvency, there might be cash left at the bank, an insolvency practitioner might be able to sell assets, they might be able to recover money for you on your director's loan account. If there's anything left over and there's no charge holder, the HMRC will get something back, but in most liquidations, small liquidation, they get nada, okay? They're an unsecured debt. And directors can still be personally liable for HMRC debts, but it is quite rare. It's called a personal liability notice, okay? Not many people know about personal liability notices, so I'm going to tell you about them. A personal liability notice is generally only used where HMRC can prove that the underlying payment failure is attributable to fraud or serious neglect of a director. That's why they're quite rare. It'll typically, like a personal liability notice, it'll be typically issued when a company goes into liquidation with massive tax debts, okay? Now, there are two main types of personal liability notice. One is a personal liability notice for your national contributions, okay? Your national insurance contributions. And on this, obviously, again, the HMRC can only serve that notice against a director if they can prove that non-payment of national insurance contributions is attributable to fraud or neglect. So listen, a lot of directors will build up national insurance contributions for their employees because the last few months they've just ran out of the money, or the last 12 months. Like, personal liability notices are very, very rare, but they do happen. The other type of personal liability notices is for VAT payments. And again, a PLM will be issued if a company is liable for, they've ran up huge VAT debts, and it can be proven that they've done it fraudulently or it's deliberate wrongdoing. And again, they are very rare, but that is where an HMRC debt can follow you around and bite you on the arse, okay? Now, I need to talk to you about personal guarantees, because there's lots of directors out there who have signed a personal guarantee. And we sign personal guarantees because we don't think that it's going to get bad, okay? No one in the right mind would put their house up for sale, house on the line, if they thought that business was going to turn sour. I mean, we've had a mad time, haven't we? In 2020, we got locked down, loads of money got pumped into the economy, and actually the economy boomed. You know, people were spending lots of money, there were lots of money going around, inflation went through the roof, lots of businesses were booming, and there was a wave. And a lot of businesses during that wave wanted to ride the wave, but to ride the wave they needed some more money. And the only money they could find was money from certain lenders that require a personal guarantee. And they're like, yeah, we'll lend you the dough, but we want you to PG it. And these lenders will probably PG it if you've got house with equity in. You know, if you're looking for finance in your business and you've got a house with oodles of equity in, you will find the finance, but you will be asked to personally guarantee that. Now, what's happened 2020, 2021, 2022, things were booming. But in 2023, the tide changed. And in 2024, where we're at now, June, it's really, really hard out there. Revenues on all sectors have dropped. Number of reasons: cost of living crisis, mortgage costing a fortune, gas and electric costing a fortune. We're being told that we're in a recession. So when people start spending less revenue's going into your business, but your costs are still the same. Bear with me. I'll call you back. Your costs are still the same. And that's a recipe for disaster. So what happens with a personal guarantee? If you've signed a personal guarantee and you go into liquidation, you're going to be chased around for that PG. Now, it's not like a charge against your house. It's a bit harder to enforce a personal guarantee. But you may have signed a PG with Funding Circle, with iWalker, with Capital on Tap, with Fleximize, with U-Lenders, a whole plethora of lenders who have lent money to business owners for their businesses but require a PG. In the event of an insolvency, the lender is going to try and enforce that PG, and it might be, suppliers might ask you to sign PGs as well. Now, what you need to do is you've got to communicate with them personal guarantees, because in most cases, these lenders, they just want their money back. They do not want to make anyone bankrupt. They don't want the cost of the legal action. So as long as you do a deal with these people and you are proactive with them, you will be able to negotiate with them. Now, that negotiation could take a number of different guises, okay? I'll tell you one of my personal experience. So, if you've watched my videos, you'll know that I had to put a business into liquidation many moons ago, and that's how I ended up in insolvency. But me and my fellow director had signed a £25,000 personal guarantee with an overdraft with Lloyds. And at the time, he was a little bit sharper than me, and he got right ahead of me because we'd fell out at this stage. We're best of friends again now, but again, at that point, we wanted to strangle each other. And he did a deal with Lloyds, and he offered £3,000 as full and final. And they accepted it. And then they came to me for the other 22,000. And I can laugh about it now. It was an expensive mistake. So that 22,000, they came at me. The reason I didn't want to try and do a deal with them is because at the time I was going through a refinance of some investment properties, and I thought, well, if I try and kick them in the bollocks here with this 22 grand, they're not going to refinance me. So I restructured that 22,000 over many, many years. I was paying £100 a month. I had all the interest stopped. And they just asked me to do an assets and liability form, and I showed that I could afford £100 a month, and it was accepted. That was it. Never appeared on my Experian credit report. And some lenders will not deal up. It always changes. Lenders will change their view on things, but a lot of lenders won't do a discount with you. They want all their money back, but what they will do is they'll get it over an extended period of time. You're coming out of a liquidation, your finances are on the toilet. You could even reduce the payments and make token payments back to certain lenders, and then review it in 3, 6, 9 months, and then step your payments up. Sadly, the personal guarantees aren't going to go away. Some lenders, will, if you can get a lump sum together and go, right, this is all the money I've got in the world, I'm going to give it you, will you take it as full and final? Sometimes they will take full and final settlements. But the key thing with personal guarantees is you can deal with them. You've just got to be proactive, not bury your head in the sand. And sometimes directors end up going bankrupt because their personal guarantees are too much. Again, it's in the minimum. So, I hope that you have found this video useful. If you want any more questions answering, please drop them in the comment section below. If you want to have a chat about your business issues, you're worried about personal liability, you're worried about personal guarantees, we offer free and independent and impartial advice at Director First. We put you, the director, first.